हरियाणा के सोनीपत में भारत का पहला ओपी जिंदल ग्लोबल यूनिवर्सिटी संविधान संग्रहालय का उद्घाटन 23 नवंबर को किया जाएगा। इस बात की जानकारी दिल्ली में आयोजित प्रेस वार्ता के दौरान यूनिवर्सिटी के संस्थापक कुलपति प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर सी राजकुमार ने पत्रकारों को दी। इस संविधान संग्रहालय में युवाओं को संविधान के ज्ञान से रूबरू करवाया जाएगा ताकि वो संविधान में लिखी बातों को बारीकियों से जान सके और देश के भविष्य को एक नई दिशा दे सके। यह संविधान संग्रहालय लोकतांत्रिक ढांचे और संविधान के मूल्य सिद्धांतों का जीवंत प्रमाण बनेगा और देश को समानता, विकास और संतुलन की ओर अग्रसर करेगा। इस उद्घाटन समारोह के दौरान जिंदल ग्लोबल यूनिवर्सिटी के चांसलर एवं सांसद नवीन जिंदल के साथ हरियाणा के मुख्यमंत्री नायब सिंह सैनी, लोकसभा स्पीकर ओम बिरला और केंद्रीय कानून मंत्री Arjun Ram Meghwal उपस्थित रहेंगे।
Because of that. I'm going to skip those things, but you will come and see how it looks like. It's all done. The presentation is being made now when we already have it in physical structure, in actual form on campus. All right. So around the Constitution Gardens, we have developed a number of outdoor sculptures, each of which is reflecting a thematic aspect of the Constitution. This is called the We, the People of India, the evolution of India from Stone Age to the Bronze Age. Rajesh, an artist, has done it and it's beautifully installed in the museum. Then you have another one called Insaf Ki Devi, which is again made out of scrap metal. Nishant Kumbatil has done it. Then you have another one called Triad of Unity, reflecting the lion capital of Ashoka, but also connecting to the three principles of unity, justice, and sovereignty by Harsha Dugada. Then you have another one called Echoes of Liberty. These are all outdoor sculptures installed in the Constitution Gardens. Gautam Rahul has done it. Here you can trace the history of the Indian freedom movement, but also the culmination of the Constitution as well. Then you have another one made by Pradeep Jogdan, which is on the theme Equality Before Law. Then you have another one by Deval Verma, which is actually a map of India. Of course, also through scrap metal, reflecting frugality in the evolution of our own culture. Then you have an outdoor sculpture called Frame, which essentially is how the Constitution looks. I mean, I don't know how many of you have seen one of the original copies of the Constitution. This is actually the cover page of one of the original copies of the Constitution. You can actually take a selfie here, take a photo right there. This is also installed in the museum. Now, as you look from the museum from outside, we are paying tribute to different forms of Indian art. Sorai, Gond art, Bill art, Tanjore painting, Kalamkari, Pachachitra, Madhubani and Pichwa. These different forms of Indian art are being paid tribute to, but by celebrating constitutional values in which we are recognizing liberty, justice, equality, democracy, unity, secularism, sovereignty, and fraternity. All these constitutional values are being celebrated through the various forms of Indian art. Now you actually come into the museum. The museum has three galleries. The ground floor is called the Constitution, a Kaleidoscope. The mezzanine floor is called the Makers Gallery. And the first floor is called the Freedom's Journey. Let's go one by one. The ground floor is the main floor where you will see the entire evolution of the Constitution in terms of its original ideas that the Constitution has promoted. You begin by a beautiful artwork called Portal, which is made by Jaipur-based artist called Wolf. And this essentially is drawn from the preamble of the Constitution. This particular art form, if you see the original preamble, you will find this art form there, and that has been used to signify the entry into the museum itself. Then at the heart of it, we have one of the original copies of the Constitution. Some of you may remember that after the Constitution had been signed, there were 1,000 plus photolithographic copies were made, and we happen to have one, and that we have displayed at the heart and center and entry into the museum. A very distinguished artist by name Balai Gaja has made it. There is a pedestal in it, and we have placed the Constitution on the pedestal, again signifying the worthy presence of the Constitution. Now, right adjacent to this, we are paying tribute to the Mahatma. As some of you know, when the framers of the Constitution began discussing the Constitution in December 1946, Mahatma Gandhi was very much alive. He was not a member of the Constitutional Assembly. By the time the Constitution was adopted in November 1949, he had already died. But his contribution, his vision, his inspiration was a brooding omnipresence in the minds of the framers of the Constitution. Hence, we pay tribute to the Mahatma right as we enter into the museum. All right, then we look at the three fundamental principles that were part of the evolution of the Constitution: individual freedom, economic and social justice, and equality and inclusivity. These were part of the objectives resolution of the Constitutional Assembly, which later became the preamble of the Constitution itself. Now, one of the things you will notice when you come to the museum is that the way we have built the museum is like a library as well. It is a resource center. You could spend a day, a week, a month, maybe a year or more. So much of content has been brought. One of the parliamentary institutions, the Lok Sabha, Shri Birla has accepted our invitation, and he will be the chief guest, and he will be formally inaugurating the Constitution Museum and the Rights and Freedoms Academy at Jindal Global University on Saturday, the 23rd November at 10 a.m. We will also, and we are having the distinguished presence of the Honorable Chief Minister of Haryana, Saini, as well as the Honorable Minister for Law and Justice, Mr. Arjun Meghwal. All three of them will be present, along with the distinguished presence of our Chancellor and benefactor, Mr. Naveen Jindal, who is also a member of Lok Sabha from Kurukshetra constituency. We have a number of international experts along. As I said, that inauguration is also on the same day we are beginning the National Convention on the Constitution of India, where the first panel will have 5 Supreme Court judges, sitting judges of the Supreme Court, followed by several other panels with former Chief Justice of India, former Supreme Court judges, and other Supreme Court judges also in the course of the next 3 days, and lawyers, law academics, members of parliament, and others, public intellectuals who will be discussing and debating various aspects of the Constitution of India, including some people from the media as well. The detailed invitation, including the program, has been given to each one of you in your bag. Please feel free to look at it, and we will be very delighted to host you on our campus. And of course, these days, if you come, there is no registration, so you feel free to come and be part of the museum experience. This is not something for Mr. Jindal. This is his fight for the right to fly the national flag was also that these are not causes that we intend to do it for any recovery. This is our commitment to the country and the cause, and especially because 75 years of our Constitution is a very big milestone. And I think, and one of the things, I'm a law professor and a lawyer. I'm quite amazed by the fact that when I talk to a lot of young people in high schools or others, they know very little about the Constitution. And so how do we make people understand? And not everybody is going to be a lawyer. So if we have to have young people or others who are doctors, engineers, or other professions, we need to tell the story of the Constitution in a manner that they also understand, appreciate it. And that's why museum becomes part of our national cultural heritage, where visitors can register. The time slots, typically we are planning to have it open between Monday through Friday from morning 9:30 to 5:30. You will do the registration, and then you will come to campus and you will have entry. Because it is a living campus where there are 10,000 faculty, students and staff are there. As an you can just come into it. You will have to pre-register. But the registration can happen even there. Like you have come to the campus. You can log in, and immediately if you find a slot, you can get in as well. We don't expect that thousands of people are going to be there because we are not in the city, right? So registration can happen there or before through the website. And that visitor management system will become active in early December, just after the launch.